Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. Hope you're watching the Olympics and enjoying that as well. I'm Pat Doris. We begin with an issue involving the fire department here in Portland that has no apparent solution. You know, that's trouble. City leaders say problem is you, the voter. Portland Fire and Rescue wants money to fix up their training and logistics buildings, but a bond that would have helped pay for it was pulled from the May ballot after it became clear that you voters are not in the mood for more taxes. Christelle Kumwe talked with leaders from the Fire Bureau today. Joins us live from downtown Portland. Hey, Christelle.
Hey, Pat. Well, fire officials say training and logistics buildings have not been updated in decades. But a recent poll from the city shows that voters are just about fed up at just the idea of funding yet another project. Portland Fire and Rescue is in dire need of updates at their training facility in Northeast Portland and logistics facility in Southeast.
I came in 25 years ago. And these were the exact same training facilities that I stepped into.
Chief Sarah Boone says the need for change is crucial.
We can't do and operate our mission critical services without having the support facilities.
Logistics Chief Bill Goforth says the buildings are in poor condition and falling apart.
For example, water intrusion and leaks from deteriorating roofs causing mold and rot and sheetrock damage. In order for the EMS staff to wash their hands, they must walk from their building to another building just to find a sink with running water.
Portland Fire and Rescue says a lack of community support forced it to pull a $147 million bond off the May ballot.
At this moment, our city is in crisis and people are angry. And that came across very clearly in the poll.
City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, who is in charge of the Fire Bureau, says a recent poll shows little support from voters for a bond measure.
I can tell you in the history of Portland Fire and Rescue, we've never seen poll numbers so bad, which is why I made the very hard decision to not try to push forward on this bond measure at this time.
A general obligation bond passed in 1997 to upgrade all 31 fire stations, but that did not include the Bureau's support facilities. Fire officials stress if funding doesn't go to their facilities soon, it will have a direct impact on the public.
The logistics facility is where we do all the apparatus repairs to keep this apparatus responding out of the fire stations. So it has a direct correlation to the emergency response capabilities that we have to the citizens of Portland.
But we can't provide that end result and give you the quality and effective performance and take the risks that we do unless we have the facilities and the support.
Now, Hardesty says she is looking at other options to potentially fix those facilities, but she didn't give a timeline on when a possible measure will eventually land on the ballot. Pat?
Christelle Kumwe reporting live from downtown Portland. Thank you, Christelle. Our gun violence problem shows no sign of letting up. It was another violent night in Portland, and police are asking for your help to catch the person who shot and killed someone in the Argade Terrace neighborhood. Officers were called to Northeast 131st and Prescott at 2 this morning. When they arrived, they found the victim shot but still alive. Police applied a tourniquet to try and save the victim, who was bleeding badly. Paramedics arrived and took over, but the effort sadly was not enough. Despite their efforts, the victim died at the hospital. No suspect has been arrested. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them. Also happening overnight, check out what's left of the Capitol Bar after a car crashed into the building early this morning. According to preliminary information from police, it's the result of a two-car crash. The Capitol Bar there is a popular cocktail spot at Northeast 15th and Broadway. It's also in my neighborhood. I drove by this morning, couldn't believe it. The SUV slammed into the building, obviously. There were no injuries, fortunately, reported. Portland Fire and Rescue said the building is not structurally damaged, but it is quite a sight. 211, the information phone number in Oregon, is expanding to add a statewide focus. The goal is to better meet needs during ongoing emergencies. Galen Etlin shares what led up to this change and how it could affect you.
211 Info is a statewide resource you can call or click to connect with important social services and information.
We are seeing increased need across the board.
Carrie Hoshin is the new statewide emergency manager for 211 Oregon. From COVID pandemic assistance to vaccine rollout, wildfire response, and last summer's deadly heat wave.
Emergency after emergency after emergency over the last few years.
211 has been on overdrive.
It's truly been Mr. Toad's wild ride at 211 Info.
Dan Herman is the CEO. He spoke with KGW after the heat wave. On one of those days, 211 was closed and missed about 750 calls. The heat wave killed about 100 Oregonians, and after that, 211 shifted to operate 24/7.
We were not pleased with our experience in June, and I think collectively as a system, there was a lot of learning and a lot of improvements to be had.
Obviously, everybody was horrified.
Hoshin's new role will further help bridge gaps in the system.
Better preparing internal operations to be more responsive and more quickly responsive.
That means establishing stronger connections with other agencies and community partners so that services are streamlined on short notice. This is part of 211's ongoing growth. From the start of the pandemic to last summer, its staff tripled, and it's still hiring. 211 now hopes lawmakers will secure sustained funding since a rising number of Oregonians face economic instability through the pandemic.
Right now, this is the immediate need.
Galen Etlin, KGW News.
Now to a follow-up on an issue that had a good number of you folks concerned and involved this river, the Columbia. About 9 days ago, when the wind was howling through the Columbia River Gorge, a huge barge full of grain being towed by a Tidewater tug ran aground on a sandbar near Chinook Landing. That's sort of near Blue Lake. A viewer named Rachel emailed to ask whatever happened with that. And I figured if she wondered, you probably did too. So I dug into it. When it happened, Tidewater said the strong wind shoved the barge onto that sandbar early in the morning. There's always a concern about environmental damage in a situation like that, but Tidewater recently told me all is well. Last weekend, the company got the barge moving again and said the grain did not spill, and it was taken to its destination. Thank you for that question, Rachel. The city of Portland is on the verge of a pretty big strike involving 1,100 workers, and we learned today the city sweetened its offer in an attempt to keep them off the picket line. For the past 2 years, the District Council of Trade Unions has been negotiating with the city of Portland for better pay and benefits for its workers. Workers rejected all the city's offers so far, and it's authorized a strike that could begin this Thursday. We learned today the union rejected the city's latest offer, but they say they'll send it to their members before the strike begins Thursday morning, just because there were some improvements and they want folks to get a chance to vote. Workers were encouraged by the people who came out to support them today.
What I take away from it is that Portland really is a union town. We value each other's labor, and there are hundreds of people that will stand up and fight for people that they don't know.
The workers will vote Wednesday night on the latest new contract offer. If it's rejected, they say they'll strike beginning Thursday at 9 in the morning. Some nights there's nothing better than a burger and a milkshake. Mike's Drive-In has made a successful business out of that truth for decades, and now it's adding a new location. Tim Gordon reports that they're adding that new spot in Tigard.
They are chipping away at transforming an old Subway sandwich shop in Tigard into the latest rendition of a local favorite.
We're going to have windows. We're going to have a lot of picnic tables. There's going to be a lot of outside seating as well as inside seating.
Longtime owner Todd Freeman explains this will be the first new Mike's Drive-In in 30 years.
We love Mike so much that I didn't want to cook tonight, and I drove all the way from the Pearl District.
The original Mike's opened in Milwaukee in 1971, and it's still going strong. People come from all over for the burgers and the milkshakes and ice cream. Kitty Hernandez and family are loyal fans.
Oh, their burgers are actual fill you up size, and you're getting your money's worth. And the ice cream's delicious, and their ice cream machines are never broken. Look, speaking of the delicious, we love this stuff.
Along with Milwaukee, there is a second location in Oregon City. A third Mike's in Selwood shut down in 2016, with people there saddened that their favorite burger joint became a thing of the past. But now to the future. Freeman says the Tigard spot will be great, and thanks to bringing in some business partners a few years ago, there could be more to come.
Today, I can't point out where they would be or what they'll look like. But yes, the plan is growth, and that's where the energy comes from the others in the partnership.
And don't worry, despite what you see here, there is no plan to let Mike's go to the dogs. Tim Gordon, KGW News.